In this video tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to balance out a cash flow forecast. It's probably one of the most important skills you'll learn on the enterprise course, and it's really useful. Obviously, you can get quite a few marks in the exam, but also it does tie in nicely with your coursework for component 2. What a cash flow forecast is a prediction, or what we call a projection, of what your net cash flow, which is this thing here, I've got to separate that out, actually, it's two separate words, what your net cash flow will be um, over the course of several weeks. So it's a projection, not like a real recording of how things have been. So we're looking at a holiday company here, and they have projected that they are going to have £40,000 worth of flights being sold and £500,000 worth of package deals being sold. These are just inflows. These are just literally revenue or turnover for the week. They don't represent profit. This is just what it's sold as a business at the point of sale on the tills or via the online booking system. What we need to do is we need to work out the total of these inflows, this money coming into the business. Which is pretty straightforward. It's £40,000 plus £500,000. We're going to have £540,000. Pretty straightforward. And for week 2, to work out the total inflows for week 2, so week 2 we project that we're going to sell maybe less. There may be a sort of really sensible reason behind that. It may be the tail end of the summer holidays, or it's not a time traditionally for people booking holidays as much, and you do have variations in your projections from week to week. So that's kind of the norm. £30,000 in flights and £450,000 in package deals will give us 480,000 worth of total inflows, money flowing into the business. And for week 3, it's 600,000 plus 45,000. So we're looking at 645,000. Right, so that's how you work out your total inflows. You just add all the inflows together for each week to work out your total inflows. Now remember, that's representative of money just coming into the business bank account perhaps, but it doesn't represent what's profit or loss or cost of sale or anything like that. It literally is just money that's been received. Okay, then we're going to do this thing called total outflows. Now, outflows are all the money you're spending, all the money flowing out of the business for whatever reason it needs to. We have £1,000 for the first week for the rent of the shop, beginning of the month. Paying flight operators £30,000, and paying for hotels £400,000. Notice they're slightly less than the inflows there. That's because there is a bit of profit being made. So what we need to do is need to add these four numbers together to get our total outflows. Note they've all fallen below the title or the heading of outflows. So we're looking at £1,000 plus £30,000 plus £400,000 plus £6,000, and we've got £437,000. So this is how we work out the outflows for week 1. Now you notice with week 2 it looks a bit bizarre here. There's 0 values. Sometimes you might get a dash instead of a 0. That's because we only pay the rent of the shop off once a month. At the beginning of the month in this case, we don't need to worry about paying it for the remaining weeks in the month. It's just £1,000 up front. And the same for staff wages. Staff being paid monthly, so they get 6,000 between them, the two staff that work for the business at the beginning of the month, but then they're not being paid subsequently each week. It's just a monthly salary, so to speak. So these are simpler to work out. It's 20,000 plus 370,000, so we're looking at 390,000. Been silly and not put a pound sign in there, so there we go. And then the next week, again, there's nothing for the rent of the shop, nothing for staff wages. We are just literally adding together, paying the flight operators and paying for the hotels. That's 450,000 plus 35,000. We're looking at 485,000. I did that in my head, just mental arithmetic there. I'm sorry if that was too quick for any of you. I'll try with the next few things to use the calculator. So we get a new row now which is called net cash flow. And what net cash flow is the difference between your inflows or your total inflows and your total outflows. So the inflows are money coming in and the outflows are money going out. So what we do is we subtract the total outflows from the total inflows, and we will get a number I'm going to work out now. 540,000 minus 437,000 is 103,000. We're going to do the same for week 2. So we're looking at 480,000 minus 390,000 gives us 90,000 of cash flow at the end of week 2. And finally, we've got week 3, 645,000 minus 485,000 is £160,000 of net cash flow. With a business like this, you'll get the opening balance first. So we are going to say the business has started off with 500,000. It's an opening balance of 500,000, and what we do is we add the net cash flow to that to work out what the closing balance is. So we're always given an opening balance. There should never be an exam question where you don't have one. But all we want to do to work out the closing balance is add that net cash flow to the opening balance, which gives us 603,000. That's literally all you've got to do. Add the net cash flow to the opening balance, and that will give you a closing balance. For the second week then, what we do is the opening balance of the second week is the same as the closing balance from the first week. So we've got 603,000. And again, all we need to do is add the 90,000, which is your net cash flow, to that opening balance to get your closing balance for the month, for the week, sorry. So it's 693. That's it. And finally, we want to do the same again for week 3. 693 plus 160,000. We've got 853. Pounds. Alright, there we go. So we've worked out some simple things. Total inflows are all of your inflows added together for each week. Total outflows are all of the outflows added together for that week. We subtract the total outflows from the total inflows to get our net cash flow. We then take our opening balance and add the net cash flow to it to work out our closing balance. And then for the following week, the opening balance is essentially the closing balance from the previous week. And again, then we add the net cash flow to it to work out the closing balance, and so on, and so on, and so on. And that is how you do a cash flow forecast.